Morning people, welcome back to F Politics. Goldman Sachs' warning that Brexit is making thousands of jobs leave the country proves that the government is lying to you when they say they can't tax the rich because they have to do everything they can to make sure that rich people don't leave the country. Because this is the CEO of Goldman Sachs.
London continues to be an important financial center, but because of Brexit, because of the way the world's evolving, the talent that was more centered here is more mobile. We as a firm have many more people on the continent in the last 5 years than we did, 5 to 10 years ago.
And he's right, because the chief of London's financial sector warned last year that over 40,000 financial jobs have already left the country because of Brexit. And it's estimated that that shift away from the UK is costing the government up to £10 billion in lost annual tax revenue. And the Goldman Sachs CEO explains why that's happening.
Because of Brexit, there are requirements around certain job functions and certain things that we do in our business that used to be done in London that now regulatorily are required to be done on the continent. And that's created a shift.
But here's how Home Office Minister Sima Malhotra responded to that.
There's been a sense of urgency coming out of the Treasury since we came into government last year, and that is because we saw the damage over 14 years, but most recently since the Liz Truss premiership, the damage that was done to our economy, to our reputation around the world, to the confidence of investors.
So no mention of Brexit, the thing that her Labour government can control. Instead, she's putting all the blame on Liz Truss from 3 years ago, which obviously she can't control. I mean, the fact that Brexit is pushing high-value jobs out of the UK, therefore costing the UK tax revenue, hasn't been controversial for a very long time. Hell, even Bernard Jenkins, who was a campaign chair of the official Vote Leave campaign, said this.
But we're losing people from London permanently. They're going to take up residence in other European countries with European citizenship because they can't pursue their careers by staying in London. It's about British citizens taking up citizenship in other countries. Because their career opportunities are so limited compared to what they were.
Hell, Nigel Farage even mentioned the damage that Brexit is doing to UK financial services.
And everything from financial services to fisheries is probably more difficult now than it was.
So the Tories know that Brexit is costing us tax revenue, Nigel Farage knows that Brexit is costing us tax revenue, and that Home Office Minister was just told that to her face. So it is widely understood that undoing Brexit would keep rich taxpayers in the UK, and yet they keep using the excuse that they have to keep rich taxpayers in the UK to justify not taxing rich people. Which means that their excuse for not taxing the rich is bullshit, because they're happy to watch tens of thousands of rich bankers leave the UK just to avoid pissing off Nigel Farage. And you can hear this problem in the way that the Goldman Sachs CEO talks.
Policy matters, incentives matter, and it's important that you get that balance right if you want to protect and retain, the leadership position that the UK and London has in participating in the broad global financial system.
Policy and incentives, a Brexit that makes the UK less economically attractive in general, and incentives for rich people to stay here. Think of these as levers that the government can pull. They could raise taxes on the rich, which might make some of them want to leave. However, if they undid Brexit properly, they'd want to stay. Not to mention, undoing Brexit properly would increase the size of the economy, and so they wouldn't have to tax such a large percentage of it in order to pay for the stuff that we need. And yet right now, the government seems to be choosing the worst of both worlds. They're not taxing the rich properly, and so they have less money to spend on poor people. Meanwhile, they're still maintaining Brexit, which is keeping poor people poor and making rich people leave, which again leaves less tax revenue to help poor people. The extent to which Brexit is poisoning our economy can never be overstated. I'm Femi. Make sure you follow F Politics so politics doesn't F you. Have a great week.